Hello everyone, welcome to a 1v1 today on the map Lost Temple. My name is Elisa with 8 E's. I will be playing as the Red Terran today. My opponent is Broken Rhythm, off-racing as Zerg, and I will be casting with my good friend Akaya. Akaya, what's up?
Hey, not much. What's going on, man?
Hey, so in this map, actually, we decided to play off races this time. I actually decided to switch to Terran because Zerg I found just to be too bland. There's just so many little, or there's so little things you can do with Zerg, I feel like, and especially in larger maps where Zerg is almost forced to fast expand if he or she wants to do well at playing a Zerg. But anyway, I am practicing against Broken Rhythm. He is a very high level Protoss player right now, and but he is actually off racing a Zerg because I just wanted to practice my Terran versus Zerg. Um, to you, Broken Rhythm, or okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see what he does. I, being a Zerg player myself, feel like I know a decent amount, and it looks like he did the double extractor trick, getting a couple extra drones there while he's waiting to get his Overlord. Although actually, he may be going. Do you know if he goes for a spawning pool on 12 here with these two overpopulated drones here? Yeah, it does look like he
Yep,
does.
there's a
Okay.
spawning pool down. I think he wants to go for a spawning pool and then a hatchery. This is just to prevent early bunker harassment aggression. And I did spot his Overlord coming from the bottom side. And if you ever spot an Overlord while early scouting, you can almost always assume that the Zerg player is on the other side of that ridge. But anyway, I do spot this early pool. I'm moving my SCV around. It's important to just constantly move your SCV around. And I think at this point, I noticed that he's getting his fast gas right now, so I know he's not going to fast expand, or if he is, his economy is going to be slightly crippled, and I think he might be going either fast speedlings or banelings right now. And looking at my base, I did get my gas, and right now I actually had I think a 10 barracks right now. But anyway, I am putting down a bunker at his natural, I think, right? Oh, SCV, move your bunker. There's the bunker. I'm putting down the SCV at the bunker because I really just want to delay his expansion as long as possible. One base Zerg is really hard to play, especially on cross spawns. And I know that the longer I delay the bunker, or the longer I delay his hatchery, sorry, the bigger advantage I'll have. I think one of my strengths is that my micro is a little bit better than my macro. So if I can just not let the Zerg out macro me, I know I can do well. And right now I foolishly lose this SCV to two Zerglings, but as you can see, I can just let this bunker get really low from the two Zerglings. He's even forced to pull off one drone just to try to kill it quicker. And what I can do is actually salvage it before the bunker even dies, and I would get all my money back. So the only disadvantage would be spending that 100 minerals early. But regardless, I am walling off at my base, and I am letting my minerals collect. Actually, my Terran macro is god awful.
Yeah, I can see you are putting down a factory now, though, so advancing that tech a little bit further, and possibly, are you going for a 1-1-1 build at this point, going to get the starport after this factory, or what exactly is your plan for the opener here?
I actually do not know. I think I was going. Yeah, you're right. I was going for 1-1-1, and I'm actually building a factory at my ramp, and I think this is to protect against banelings. I might also scout with it actually, but I'm getting my second gas right now, so it does look like I really don't remember. I think I was going for a 1-1-1 build because I'm getting my second gas fairly early. And looking at Broken Rhythm, he's doing the right thing as Zerg. He's scouting with his Zerglings just to pop in, see my tech, although I did hide my factory in the back. I really don't want him to see what I'm doing, and that's one of the challenges for Zerg, is to see what Terran's doing, because before you get layer tech, Overlords are just god awful to scout with, because you're going to have to sacrifice 100 minerals just to see what they're doing, and it's not always guaranteed if you're going to see what they're doing. And right now, Broken Rhythm looks like he is going to be expanding fairly soon, getting actually quite a bit of gas. Almost has speed researched, so it looks like he's going to go for early speedlings to defend. And looking at the income right now, he is pretty far ahead of me in the harvester count, but I do have my starport coming up, and I do think I am going to go a 1-1-1 build. Yep. Oh, there's actually the armory, so I'm actually going to do a Thor drop.
Oh, using the Thor ship to your advantage. I like that. I actually haven't seen much Thor ship play recently from Terran players, it doesn't look like. Which actually TLO and LZ Gamer were two of the first high-level gamers that I saw doing the Thor ships. Of course, against Zerg players, one of the most common things to do is those Thors do two-shot queens. So basically, Terrans will drop those Thors in there, take out a queen, and then just pick up and
Actually, due to
leave.
the new change, Thor's 3-shot queens, but
Oh, are you serious? Oh my goodness, that's so fail. I didn't even realize that. No wonder I haven't seen much Thorship play recently. But anyways, it looks like Broken Rhythm actually going for a third hatchery up at the 12 o'clock, taking the natural expansion there. So he is definitely going for a very econ heavy game. And I did notice that after the 12 pull, he did go for a rather fast expansion. although it wasn't quite as quick as I would have expected. Of course, that was slowed down by the fact that you did have the bunker down there. But pretty good timing on getting that expansion up and running, and he is getting the second expansion up and running here pretty quickly as well. And as of right now, you are still one basing, so at this point, it looks like it might be up to you to do some kind of a timing push here to stay in this game. Of course, if he can get 2 expansions up and running before you're able to get your first one, you could be in a pretty tough situation here economically.
Yeah, definitely. And as you can see, I'm building a bunker actually at the ledge right near actually one of the closer positions, and I'm using this bunker to scout. Now, getting a bunker is actually much more economically efficient than actually using a comstat right now. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of a drop with these 6 Marines. Going to be able to try to snipe overlords around with the medevac. And one thing to do as Terran is to constantly keep up the aggression, because if you don't, the Zerg player is just going to expand all over the place and just do terrible macro terrible macro, and it doesn't even matter how many Zerg units your siege tanks or Marines can kill if you play in a defensive position. If the Zerg player controls the entire map, they can just keep sending waves after wave after you, and it does look like I'm going to be doing pretty good damage to this hatchery. 6 Marines in a medevac, although not full, really does extremely high DPS, and I'm not sure why Broken Rhythm is not going to be attacking. I can only assume that he knows that if he attacks, I will just put my guys back in the medevac and just fly away. It looks like he's going to be sending a small force right now, and I do actually escape with no units lost.
Yeah, actually the reason he did not send those units to defend immediately is because he was attacking your front ramp, which between the 2 Marines and the 1 Thor, and you actually had some SUVs up repairing those supply depots, which you can see one of them is still a little bit damaged. You were able to force him to back those lings out of the front of your base. But I did also want to comment on one thing you mentioned earlier, how you said you were scouting with the barracks because it was more economically efficient. Some people may say, well, how is that? Scan is only 50 energy and a barracks actually costs you minerals. Well, if you compare the cost of the barracks versus how much money you lose if you were to scout by bringing down a scan sweep rather than bringing down a mule to your mineral line, a mule actually brings you about 300 minerals over the course of its life. So only spending 150 minerals on the barracks so that you can fly it around is actually saving you 150 minerals. It does move a little bit slower, but as you can see, it's tanking an awful lot of damage from those queens and just getting a lot of scouting in, and your Thor ship actually moving in there to clean the queen. But anyways, I did just want to comment on that real quick, because I'm sure there were some people that kind of raised their eyebrow at that comment that you mentioned a little bit ago. So.
Yeah, definitely. I keep forgetting that some of these things I talk about are fairly advanced tactics, especially if you haven't played Starcraft. So thanks for reminding me. But anyway, I do have my Thor ship out. Actually, it already has 17 kills on it. I think some of it was from the initial. I think when Broken Rhythm tried to prod my main, it got plenty of kills. And then actually, I'm already expanding right now. I almost have my command center finished, and I just killed his queen. Now, Broken Rhythm has a ton of Zerglings. These Zerglings are not going to do anything against my Thor. Actually, once he moves his Zerglings away, I'm just gonna drop the Thor right back down and start one-shotting probes. Once the Zerglings come back, I lift it back on the edge and get a few more Zergling kills while he's at it. If you actually keep the Thor there, you can pick off workers from the 3 far mineral patches closer to the hatchery, and in some positions, not this one, for oddly enough, not all the positions are the same, but in some positions you can actually attack the hatchery from the ledge, which is super dirty. And also, I'm actually going to upgrade my orbital command from the command center. Now, one thing I've seen from pros is that they always like to upgrade their orbital command before they move it out, and this is because of the slight energy gain you get while it's moving, and because you can use the initial fuel. As you can see, my macro is doing very bad right now, 800 out of 400. And one thing I've learned as a Terran player is that Zerg players can mass produce drones, Protoss players can chrono boost probes, but Terran players really have no way of getting workers out quickly. So it's always best to have more workers than you need. Just constantly pump workers regardless of whether you need them or not, because you're always going to need to be expanding. If you're not pumping workers, you're basically doing an all-in strategy at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much more difficult to get workers back up and running quickly. Of course, you do have the mules to your advantage, but the mules with the short lifespan, despite the fact that they give you 300 minerals over their lifespan, they only last a short period, and of course the SUVs are really what you need for lasting economic income. And it looks like Broken Rhythm trying to get some banelings in there, but fortunately you have tanks up and running, and with siege mode they were not able to get in to do a Baneling bust on that wall that you have at the top of your ramp there. And I was actually thinking earlier that he should have gone Banelings a little bit sooner, because with how many Zerglings he had, if he was able to bust down that entrance with 5 or 6 Banelings, he would have been able to get an easy surround on the Thor that you had inside your base. But unfortunately, he waited for a little bit too long, and that cost him, because the Baneling bust is no longer a viable option with these Siege tanks on the ledge.